Hi everybody, here I am at Trans Thrive, and I'm going to try not to cry. I cried in the last one, and you guys, see, there I go. You guys really touched my heart. One, allowing me in here, and the stories that I heard in meeting you all. So Erin is the program coordinator, and this is a day center that works primarily with transgender homeless people. And she's also a YouTuber, a YouTube partner, and that's awesome. First tell me about your work that you're doing here, and then tell me about your advocacy, because it wasn't easy for you to roll a camera.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And YouTubers can be vicious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thank you, first off, for having me on. So a little bit about the work that we do here. Like Mark mentioned, we're a day drop-in center, mostly for homeless people, but specifically for people who are transgender. This is something that is really important to me, to be able to work here. It's something that I'm so glad I'm able to work in the trans community. Growing up transgender in the middle of the country, I really just didn't have anyone else who was going through the same things I was. For the longest time, I really thought I must be the only person who is having these struggles with gender, just because I had no way of reaching out to anyone who had experienced those same things. And so being here in San Francisco and being able to actually work with the trans community, especially parts of the trans community that have so many needs,
Right.
is just something that's really special to me. So a lot of the work that I do here, right now I'm mostly coordinating a lot of our programs, but I started here as one of our program specialists, and basically what that means is I'm doing the case management, which is working one-on-one with clients, trying to get them off the street, trying to get them into shelters or into work, or dealing with the issues that they're dealing with, whether that's drug abuse or discrimination or anything like that. So there's a lot of one-on-one work,
Right.
which is really important to me and especially to the clients. But then there was also a lot of support groups and facilitation and things like that. So I really got a chance to sit down with the community and talk about what's going on in their lives, what are the issues that they're facing every single day, and how can we address them. So if it's homelessness, what are the things that we can do? How can we get them to a place where they're off the streets? And one of the things with Trans Thrive that's really unique is we are funded to do HIV prevention, and HIV is a really big concern for the trans community. I mean, the HIV prevalency rate is through the roof compared to other populations. But we've tried to take a step back from HIV and really looked at what's the whole needs of the person.
Right.
So, HIV may not be the first thing somebody thinks about if they're on the street, if they're doing survival sex work, if they're on drugs.
Which survival sex is really because you just can't go into Macy's and apply for a job.
Exactly.
Well, you can, you just get
wouldn't
booted
get
out,
it,
right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then so what's left? You're hungry. You've got no place to turn. Survival sex becomes an option.
It becomes the
only option. Exactly. And then you have all the other, whether it be crime of being beat up and harassed, and the street and HIV, and it's just not a way to live.
Exactly. And so if we're able to, get one person off the streets and into a stable living situation, and maybe get them into a job or something like that, it takes that need to do survival sex work or engage in things that might make them a higher risk for HIV. And so I think that's one of the brilliant things about the Trans Thrive program, is that we're able to take a step back, see what all the needs are of the person, how we can address them, and by doing that we're able to reduce the risk for HIV.
Wow. And now your own advocacy work.
So, like you mentioned, I do a lot of online advocacy work. This is something I started 6 years ago. It was just after YouTube was out. And I remember...
Wow, you've been doing it for a while.
A long time.
Yeah, because YouTube's only 6 years old.
Yep, and I started just before its first anniversary. And I remember one day I was sitting at work and I was watching cat videos on YouTube, and I came across this video, and it's silly, but it was people falling asleep. And it was a collaboration video where people were falling asleep in front of their cameras.
Huh.
And some they were saying goodnight or different things like that. And it really struck me because this was, I mean, falling asleep is, you're vulnerable.
Right.
You know? That's a spot, you're closing your eyes, you're not looking at what's around you, and it's this thing where not a lot of people see. You don't watch people fall asleep. And so to be able to see people at this vulnerable part and sharing that really inspired me. I was like, wow, if they can do it, why can't I share about myself? And so
it took a lot of courage.
It really did. I went down, I grabbed a camera and I went to the sub-basement of this place I was working, and I put it on this shelf, and I stood there, and I mean, I was in New York City, so you could hear the subway going by behind the walls and stuff, and I was shaking, just because it was something that was so intense to be able to actually talk about being trans or feeling like I was alone in it or all these different things. And to be able to share that was something that was really hard. And I really struggled with putting that first video up. And I put it up and I got maybe like 5 comments and 50 views. And to me that was amazing. All of a sudden 50 people out there saw me talking about being trans and who I was, and 5 comments saying, "You go girl," or really awesome of you to share this, thanks so much, I'm going through the same thing. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. I mean, it wasn't that much, but it really inspired me to keep going. And so through that I've been able to document 6 years of my transition.
And then YouTube made you a partner.
Yeah, YouTube made me a partner.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah, it's really great. So
we didn't really know what was going to go on. I mean, they got an email, Mark Horvath's coming. It ended up to be like this real gorgeous kind of like moment of sharing. Mm-hmm. Both me being a straight ally and just a bunch of just wonderful people. Just wonderful people. I fell in love with the people in that room because, they're themselves. Bevan, who's holding the camera, who's the director of Hope, you know why I love him? Is because he's himself. And it takes so much courage to be yourself in this world. And here's people that all they're doing is being themselves, and they get kicked to the curb time and time again. And, what goes on of that, and, the one girl talking about how she was told she was worthless, and, and then the other girl talking about, creatures, and then, no, you're people, you're humans. You're humans. They're humans. You're a human. I'm a human. Now I'm going to get mad. I cried in the other interview. Now I'm going to punch something. So, thank you very much for having me. This is a huge issue with the LGBT and the homeless issue. As many of you know, that I've really tried to learn as I go because, I think through education and your work, which is basically activism and education, we're going to find understanding. I'm sorry. I mean, it's discrimination. And whether it's, color discrimination or sexual discrimination, it all sucks and it's all ignorant and it's all got to stop. Okay? So, doesn't matter. You see a homeless person, you help them. End of story.
And Erin, where do we find you on YouTube?
You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Grishno. That's GRISHNO.
Awesome. And he's producing. So thank you, everybody.